welcome back to my channel Duct Tape Mechanic and to another episode of my series Free on Facebook, a series of videos in which I find things for free and I repair them, recycle them, or repurpose them in another way just to help them from ending up in the landfill. In this video I'm going to be showing you how to repair a GE washer that is shaking and vibrating like crazy on the spin cycle. So if you like this video, make sure you subscribe to my channel for more DIY and tinkering videos. So this is the washer that's vibrating and shaking like crazy. And if you follow my channel, you've probably noticed that this is not the first time I've picked up this washer. This is like the third or fourth time, which leads me to believe that these washers have a lot of common issues that lead people to throw them out. And the thing is that these washers are still sold at Home Depot for anywhere between $600 to $700. So they may be another model number than this one. This current one I have that I'm working on is that model number, but they're all very similar. So if you have a washer that's just shaking and banging on the sides during the spin cycle, this video is for you, and hopefully this repair will help your GE washer from going into the trash or from being on the side of the curb like this one. Alright, so the main reason why this thing is shaking and vibrating all over the place is because the suspension rods are worn out. And this happens to pretty much all the new dryers after 5 or 6 years of use. This one doesn't even look like it's 5 or 6 years old, but to replace it is not too hard. I have my own way of doing it in which I replace one suspension rod at a time. I find that works best. So I'll show you how to do that on this particular one right here. Let's get to work. Alright, the first thing we're going to do is undo these 4 screws to get access to the back panel. Alright, so once you get the back panel off, you can just let this cover piece hang. It's no big deal. This is just where the technician comes to plug in a device to read the error codes, and this is the ground. So if it hangs, it's not that big of a deal. There we go. After that, what we're going to do is we're going to remove these inner bolts as well. That one there and that one there. Those are 1/4 inch screws. Alright, with all the screws removed, it's easy to take the top of the washer off. Just pull from the back. Just kind of lift up and it'll come off right off the clamps. After you do that, it may be a good idea to put some masking tape on the lid so it doesn't open up on you. Alright, so with the top of the washer propped up, we can take a look at the suspension rods. And on these, on the GEs, the suspension rods on the right side of the washer are green, and the ones on the left side are white. And I don't know what that means or what the significance of that is, but we'll just put them back in that order as well. So I'll show you how to take these out, and it's relatively easy. Alright, so now it's time to remove the suspension rods and install the replacements. Now you can go ahead and try to do all 4 at the same time, where you remove all 4 then you install all 4 at the same time. But I've done that and I found that doing them one at a time is a lot better. So if you remove one, then you go ahead and install the new one. Then you go move on to the next one. Otherwise, this whole drum here is just going to collapse, and it's kind of a pain to move it around after that. So to remove it, just go ahead and stick your hand down there. Be careful because it is a little bit sharp, but go ahead and pull it towards you, pull it up, and then pull down on this bearing and kind of spin it until it's unhooked. And there it goes. And it's just hanging on the lip there, which is drop it down. All right, so the nice thing about these GE ones is you don't actually have to reach down underneath and pull that out like you do with the Whirlpool or Kenmores. With these ones, you can just show you how to. It's just in there. You can just put your hand in there, because you can pull it right out. There's a little slit that it goes into, and that's what I mean by green being on the right side of the washer. So this is a green suspension rod, and I'll just zoom in to the slit I'm talking about, and I'll show you where and how to install a new one as well. So there's a slit on the side of the tub that holds the suspension rods. Let me pull this back briefly here and stick my hand down there so you know what I'm talking about. That's hard. So that's what I'm talking about, right there, that slit. That's where you'll slide in the new rod, and we'll just hook it up right here. So I'll show you what that kind of looks like. We're just gonna bring it in right through the bottom of the bearing, and it's gonna hook to the side. So what I mean by that is I'm gonna bring in the suspension rod from down here, and it's gonna hook in like that. So that's bring it in to the large slot and just hook it in like that. That's how it'll be secured, and that's it. All right, now that I've demonstrated how the rod's gonna go, we're gonna go ahead and put this bearing right here. It's gonna be a little bit greasy, but that's okay. And then we're going to put the suspension rod through that slit right there, and the green portion is going to be on the bottom of it, and the rod itself is going to come to the side, and I'll show you what that looks like as soon as I get it through, because it's going to be a little bit hard to demonstrate it while I'm doing it, just because I'm not wearing a GoPro or anything like that. But there's that green replacement rod, and I'm going to stick it in there like this. And I'll just hook it up here momentarily like that, just to demonstrate how it looks. So we come over here, and you can see that green piece is on the bottom, and it's just coming up here and hooked right here. So yeah, it just goes right to the slit. You don't have to go crawl underneath the washer or put your hand underneath the washer to get that rod in. So after that, we're just gonna put it onto this bearing. So after that, we're just gonna put it onto this bearing. We're just gonna unhook it from there, and as we bring it up there, once we got it like so, just drop it into that smaller slot, and that's it. It's 1 down, 4 to go, or 1 down, 3 to go. All right, so I'll show you how to do this once again. So basically, just pull up, and sometimes this bearing can get real stuck. So you can just pull up and give it a tap with the hammer, and then just rotate that bearing, and there you go. Slide it right out of the slit. Here we have it. Like I said, the left side is white on these GE washers. Right, so once again, I'm going to go ahead and put the bearing on, get the replacement rod, white on the left side, go ahead and slide the bottom piece through the slit. There we go, and then bring it through that larger slot. And if you lose your grip or something, you can just hook it up onto the edge right here for a second. Sometimes it's hard to do everything in one motion, or your hands get real greasy, so I just like to hook them onto here after I've slid them in from underneath. So basically, after you got them hooked on right here, you just got to go into the large slot right there, and then just drop this puppy right onto the smaller slot right there. And if you can see my gloves right there, that's the grease that's on them, so don't be surprised if your hands slip while doing this. Probably should wear, you know, work gloves while replacing these rather than bare hands, or the worst thing, rubber gloves, I should say. But yeah, so that's how you replace the suspension rods. So the only thing left to do is replace the rods in the back right there, and that'll hopefully take care of the issue of the washer just bouncing around like that. What basically happens is this suspension rods wear down, and then the drum starts getting out of control. That's why I like the suspension systems on the older style washers better. But after we replace those two, we're gonna go ahead and put the lid back down. It'll clamp into these clamps. You'll hear a click sound, and after that we'll go ahead and just bolt everything back up and put the cover back on. Alright, so I've got the washer put back together. I've got it hooked up to my little test station right here, and currently it's in the spin cycle. It's spinning nice and smoothly, no violent vibration or shaking. I don't know if you can see it. Definitely you can hear it, but I don't know if you can see it spinning, but it's definitely spinning. So that's how you resolve an issue on a GE washer that's just shaking out of control. So if this video helped you save some money, make sure you hit the thumbs up sign, and stay tuned for more DIY and tinkering videos. Smooth.